In the shadowed underbelly of a bustling American metropolis, where the neon lights of justice flicker like faulty bulbs, a tale unfolds that will grip your soul and shake your faith in the system. Imagine crooked cops scheming in the dead of night to destroy an innocent black woman's life, only to face the ultimate reckoning when she rises from the ashes as their unyielding overlord. If you're in the USA or UK, craving stories that expose corruption, deliver jaw-dropping twists, and champion underdogs who flip the script, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't miss out on more electrifying narratives like this that keep you on the edge, because your support fuels the fire of truth, telling in a world desperate for it. The city of Eldridge pulsed with the relentless rhythm of urban life, its skyscrapers piercing the smog, choked sky like accusatory fingers pointing at the heavens. Detective Marcus Hale, a grizzled veteran with a badge tarnished by years of cutting corners, sat in the dim glow of a back-alley diner, nursing a black coffee that tasted like regret. Across from him was his partner, Officer Lena Vargas, her sharp eyes scanning the room for eavesdroppers. They were the epitome of the thin blue line, bent, but not broken, or so they thought, their target. A rising star in the community, Dr. Aisha Reynolds, a brilliant black woman whose advocacy for police reform had made her a thorn in the side of the department. Aisha wasn't just any activist, she was a Harvard-educated lawyer turned community organizer, using her platform to expose systemic racism and corruption within the Eldridge PD. Her speeches drew crowds, her op-eds went viral, and her investigations had already led to the suspension of 2 officers for brutality. To Hale and Vargas, she was a threat that needed to be neutralized. It started innocently enough, or at least that's how they justified it to themselves. A tip from a shady informant about a drug ring operating out of the East Side. But when the leads dried up, Hale saw an opportunity. "We'll plant the evidence on her," he whispered to Vargas one rainy night in their unmarked car. "Frame her for possession with intent to distribute. She's been poking around our territory. Make it look like she's the kingpin." Vargas hesitated, her Latina heritage making her all too aware of how the system chewed up people of color, but the promise of a promotion and a cut of the bribe money swayed her. They needed a judge in their pocket to make it stick, someone who could fast-track the case and ensure a conviction. Enter Judge Harlan Whittaker, a silver-haired relic of the old boys club, drowning in gambling debts and desperate for a bailout. Hale approached him at a seedy casino on the outskirts of town, sliding an envelope stuffed with 50,000 across the blackjack table. "Make sure she goes down hard?" Hale growled. Whittaker, his eyes glazing over with greed, nodded. "Consider it done, detective. But if this blows up, you're on your own." Aisha Reynolds lived in a modest brownstone in the heart of the black community, surrounded by books on civil rights and photos of her late parents. Civil rights activists themselves, who had marched with Dr. King. She was 35, single, dedicated to her cause, and oblivious to the storm brewing. That night, as she returned from a late rally, Hale and Vargas executed their plan with military precision. They tailed her home, waited until she was inside, then staged a routine traffic stop that escalated into a search warrant based on fabricated probable cause. In her car trunk, they planted a kilo of cocaine, carefully dusted with her fingerprints from a coffee cup they'd swiped earlier. The arrest was swift and public, cameras flashing as Aisha was led away in handcuffs, her face a mask of shock and defiance. "This is a setup!" she shouted to the gathering crowd. "They're framing me because I'm fighting for justice!" But the media spun it as another activist gone rogue, and the department patted itself on the back. The trial was set for the Eldridge Superior Court, presided over by none other than Judge Whittaker. Aisha's public defender, a overworked young attorney named Jamal Torres, smelled something fishy from the start. "The evidence is too clean," he told Aisha in the holding cell. "No chain of custody issues, no witnesses. It's like they gift-wrapped it." Aisha, her spirit unbroken, nodded. "Dig deeper, Jamal. There's more here than meets the eye." Little did anyone know, Aisha had her own secrets. Unbeknownst to the world, she had been quietly climbing the ranks in a parallel career. While advocating publicly, she had been recruited by the FBI's Internal Affairs Division as an undercover operative, tasked with infiltrating corrupt police departments. Her activism was a cover, and her arrest, it was the catalyst for a larger sting operation that had been in the works for months. As the trial commenced, the courtroom buzzed with tension. Hale and Vargas sat in the back, smug smiles hidden behind stern expressions, confident that Whittaker would railroad the proceedings. The prosecutor, a slick DA named Evelyn Grant, painted Aisha as a hypocritical crusader funding her operations through drug money. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," Grant boomed, "Dacker, Reynolds preaches reform by day and peddles poison by night. Exhibits were presented: the cocaine, the fingerprints, even falsified bank records showing suspicious deposits, courtesy of Whittaker's influence in sealing warrants. Aisha took the stand, her voice steady. "I am innocent. This is retaliation for my work exposing police misconduct." But the jury, swayed by the mountain of evidence, seemed unconvinced. Then came the first twist. During cross-examination, Torres dropped a bombshell. He had subpoenaed Hale's phone records, revealing calls to Whittaker the night before the arrest. "Objection!" Grant yelled. "Irrelevant!" But Whittaker, sweating under his robes, overruled weakly. As Torres pressed, Hale cracked on the stand, admitting to minor procedural oversights, but denying bribery. The courtroom erupted. Whittaker banged his gavel, calling for order, but the damage was done. Whispers spread. Aisha's supporters filled the gallery, chanting softly for justice. That night in his chambers, Whittaker panicked. He called, "Hale, you idiots! This is unraveling. If she walks, we're all going down." Hale, ever the schemer, proposed a desperate escalation tamper with the jury. They bribed a juror down on his luck factory worker with 10,000 to push for a guilty verdict. But Aisha wasn't idle. From her cell, she activated her FBI contacts. Agent Carla Simmons, her handler, had been monitoring the situation. "We've got enough on tape," Simmons whispered during a legal visit. "Hale's calls, the bribe money trail, it's all there. But we need the courtroom reveal for maximum impact." Aisha smiled for the first time in weeks. "Make it happen." The next day, as deliberations loomed, Torres called a surprise witness, an anonymous informant who turned out to be Vargas's former partner, disillusioned and ready to flip. "I saw Hale plant the drugs," the witness testified. "And the judge, he's in on it." Chaos ensued. Whittaker declared a mistrial, but it was too late. The FBI swooped in, arresting Hale and Vargas on the spot for evidence tampering and bribery. The second twist hit like a thunderbolt. As handcuffs clicked around Hale's wrists, Aisha stood tall, her demeanor shifting from victim to victor. "Gentlemen," she addressed the stunned courtroom, "allow me to introduce myself properly. I am not just Dr. Aisha Reynolds, activist. I am Special Agent Aisha Reynolds, newly appointed director of the Eldridge Police Oversight Commission, your new boss." Gasps echoed through the room. It turned out her arrest had been a calculated risk, approved by higher-ups to draw out the corruption. With Whittaker exposed, the governor had fast-tracked her appointment, making her the head of a new agency with authority over the entire department. Hale's face drained of color. You're what?" Vargas stammered, her world crumbling. But the story was far from over. As Aisha assumed her role, she uncovered layers of deceit deeper than anyone imagined. Hale, in custody, sang like a canary, implicating a network of corrupt officials extending to City Hall. Mayor Reginald Thorpe, a charismatic politician with presidential ambitions, had been pulling strings all along, using the PD as his personal enforcers to silence dissent in minority communities. Thorpe's motive: a massive real estate deal that would gentrify Aisha's neighborhood, displacing thousands. The bribery of Whittaker was just the tip. Thorpe had funneled city funds into offshore accounts, bribing judges and cops to clear the path. Aisha's first act as boss was a sweeping audit. She assembled a team of incorruptible investigators, including Torres, now her chief counsel. They raided precincts at dawn, seizing computers and files. Hale, facing life in prison, offered a plea deal, testimony against Thorpe in exchange for reduced time. But twists piled on. During the raid, they discovered Vargas had been playing both sides. She was Thorpe's mole, feeding info to Hale while secretly recording everything for her own blackmail scheme. When confronted, Vargas fled, leading to a high-speed chase through the rain-slicked streets of Eldridge. Aisha, in the command center, directed the pursuit. "Bring her in alive," she ordered. Vargas's car spun out on a bridge, teetering over the edge. In a dramatic rescue, officers pulled her to safety, but not before she confessed. "Thorpe made me do it. He's got dirt on everyone." The mayor's downfall was spectacular. Aisha orchestrated a press conference, revealing wiretaps of Thorpe discussing the frame job. "This city will no longer tolerate corruption," she declared, her voice broadcast nationwide. Thorpe was arrested in his opulent office, protesting innocence as cameras rolled. But the biggest twist yet: Thorpe wasn't the mastermind. Digging deeper, Aisha found links to a national syndicate, a shadowy organization called the Vanguard, comprising ex-intelligence operatives who manipulated local governments for profit. Thorpe was their puppet, and Aisha's parents. They had been investigating the Vanguard before their suspicious accident, years ago. This wasn't just about Eldridge, it was personal. Fueled by vengeance, Aisha went undercover once more, infiltrating a Vanguard gala disguised as a wealthy donor. There, she met Elias Crow, the enigmatic leader, a former CIA spook with a scar across his cheek and eyes like frozen steel. "You remind me of someone," Crow mused, sipping champagne. "A ghost from the past." Aisha played coy, gathering intel on their operations, rigging elections, framing activists, even assassinations. But Crow smelled a rat. In a tense confrontation in the gala's penthouse, he revealed he knew her identity. "Your parents were meddlers, just like you. I ordered the hit." Rage boiled in Aisha's veins, but she held back, signaling her team. The raid on Vanguard's headquarters was a symphony of chaos. SWAT teams breaching, hackers disabling security, Aisha leading the charge. Gunfire echoed as guards resisted, but Aisha, trained in combat, took down 2 assailants with precise takedowns. Crow escaped to the roof, helicopter blades whirring. "This isn't over!" he shouted. Aisha pursued, leaping across rooftops in a heart-pounding sequence. On the helipad, they clashed, fists flying, truth spilling. "You destroyed my family?" Aisha yelled, dodging a knife. Crow smirked. "For the greater good." But in a twist, Hale, redeemed and cooperating, appeared, having been released on bail to assist. He tackled Crow, allowing Aisha to cuff him. With Vanguard dismantled, Aisha reformed the PD from the ground up. Mandatory bias training, community oversight boards, body cams with AI monitoring. Hale, serving a reduced sentence, became an instructor on ethics. Vargas turned state's evidence, exposing more. Woodacre rotted in prison. Thorpe's trial became a media circus, his fall symbolizing the end of an era. Aisha, hailed as a hero, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but she remained vigilant. In a final twist, an encrypted message arrived at Vanguard Lives. "Watch your back." The syndicate had splinter cells. Aisha smiled grimly. Bring it on. Years passed, but the echoes of that fateful frame job lingered. Aisha married Torres, starting a family while continuing her work. The city thrived under her leadership, crime down, trust up. Yet, in quiet moments, she reflected on the cost, the friends lost, the battles fought. Eldridge became a beacon of reform, inspiring movements across the USA and UK, where similar stories of corruption plagued cities like London and Manchester. Activists cited her as proof that one person could topple empires. But wait, there's more depth to unravel. Let's rewind to Aisha's childhood, where the seeds of resilience were sown. Born in the turbulent 1990s in a Chicago ghetto, Aisha watched her parents, Malcolm and Nia Reynolds, fight against police brutality. Malcolm, a former Black Panther, taught her self-defense. Nia, a teacher, instilled a love for law. Their accident, a car crash ruled suspicious, left Aisha orphaned at 15, fostered by an aunt in Eldridge. She channeled grief into excellence, scholarships paving her way to Harvard. There she met Professor Elias Grant, no relation to the day, who mentored her and secretly recruited her to the FBI after graduation. Meanwhile, Hale's backstory added layers. A Vietnam vet turned cop, he started idealistic but wore scars, and departmental pressure turned him cynical. His wife left him over his drinking. His son overdosed on the very drugs he planted. Guilt gnawed at him, making his eventual redemption authentic. Vargas, from an immigrant family, joined the force to make a difference, but got entangled in Thorpe's web through debt from her mother's medical bills. The Vanguard's origins traced to the Cold War, a rogue group profiting from chaos. Crow, its head, was a disgraced agent expelled for unethical experiments. His vendetta against the Reynolds family stemmed from Malcolm exposing his early operations. As Aisha delved into Vanguard files, she discovered a global network. Bribes in Westminster, frame-ups in Birmingham, even ties to UK MPs. This international angle hooked UK audiences, mirroring scandals like the Post Office Horizon affair or police misconduct inquiries. Twists multiplied. A mole in Aisha's team, a trusted aide, leaked info to remnants. An assassination attempt during a speech. Aisha dodged a sniper's bullet, tracing it to Crow's son. She confronted him in a foggy London alley during a transatlantic summit, forging alliances with British reformers. Back home, a subplot emerged. Aisha's long-lost sibling, thought dead, resurfaced as a Vanguard operative, brainwashed. The emotional reunion turned confrontation, added heart-wrenching drama. "Brother, come back to us," Aisha pleaded. He defected, providing key evidence. The narrative wove through seasons: winter raids, summer protests, autumn trials. Characters evolved. Hale mentored rookies post-release. Vargas started a foundation for reformed officers. In the end, Aisha stood on the courthouse steps, the same where her trial began. Justice isn't given, it's taken. The crowd cheered, but she knew the fight continued. Vanguard's shadow loomed, setting up sequels in the audience's mind.